Hello, today we are going to create an infographic just like the one that you see on the screen. Yours might look a little bit differently, but the idea is for you to learn how to use the tools in Google Drawing. So before we go to drive.google.com, it is very important that you use your MyMail email address and not your personal Gmail account, because this way everything will be tied to your schoolwork and none of it will be mingle with your personal stuff in your own personal Gmail account. Let's go to drive.google.com. And when you get there, remember to use your MyMail account. I'm going to use my own district email account and not my personal Gmail account. Then press next. Then enter your password and click next. So this is what my drive looks like. Yours might look differently. Mine might have more things than yours. So one of the things that I always like to do is to create folders. This way I keep all my work organized in folders. So to create a folder, I'm going to click on New and select Folder. And I am going to title this folder Spanish 1A because all of my work for Spanish will be in this folder. Then I click Create. One of the things that you can do is to color code your folder. If you have a lot of them, you can change the colors. So I'll do a right click and then I just go to change color and select from the color palette one of the colors that I like for this folder. And this is just to personalize it a little bit more. You don't have to do it, but you can always do this. Click on the folder to go inside the folder. Once again, let's take a look at the infographic that we need to create. So to create this infographic, we're going to click on New, More, and Google Drawings. Again, it's New, More, and then Google Drawings. And the first thing that you see is that you get a clean canvas. You can pretty much do with it whatever you want. So let's take a look at the tools. So first you have the undo arrow. So if you need to undo anything, you can click on this and it will undo the last thing that you did. Then you have the redo arrow. If you delete something by mistake, you can click this button and it will bring it back. You have a print function. You can use this button to zoom in or out. Right now, I'm going to 50% just so we can see the overall area of the project. And sometimes it's good to zoom out so you can see what the overall project looks like. Right now, I'm gonna leave it like this so we can start working on this project. Then you have your select tool. And the select tool is also used to move elements around. So if you want to move one of your elements, like a text or a graphic, you can click on this arrow and then you can move the elements around. Next, you have your line tool. And when you click on it, you can see that you have different types of lines. The one that we're going to be using today the most is the shapes. So if you click here, you can see all the different shapes that you have. And later on, you can explore all the shapes on your own. Next to it, you have the text toolbox, and that's exactly what it is for, to create text. Next to the text tool, we have the insert image, and you have different options to bring images into your canvas. You can upload from a computer, search the web, bring in images from your Google Drive or from your photos, and this is from Google Photos. Or you can copy and paste the URL, and it will use the URL to create the image in the canvas. You can also connect your camera and bring in images from your camera. The image functions that we're going to use is upload from computer and also search the web. But just know that you have many options and ways that you can incorporate to bring in images onto your work. Now, this added comment is if you're sharing your work with someone else or someone else shared the work with you, you can comment on the work to suggest edits. And for example, this will be like if Fred from Period 1 wants me to check out his work, and suggest some edits. He can share the work with me. He can share his Google Drawing, and I can use this added comment option to make comments on his drawing. So let's go back and take a look at the infographic so I can see how I might be able to recreate this work in Google Drawing. Go back to Google Drawing, and the first thing that I see is that my canvas right now is landscape mode. And I want to change it to portrait because if you remember, the infographic was actually in portrait and not landscape. So in order to change this canvas from landscape to portrait, I can just go to the bottom corner, click, hold it, and drag it down to kind of match the size that I want. If you later find out that the canvas is not large enough for your work, you can always go back and resize it. So now that I have the size that I want, let me go back and see the elements that I need. So I know that I need a title, and I'm going to create that title by using a shape. So I'm using my square shape, and then I'm just gonna go into shapes, click and drag this shape. And one of the things that I can do is change the color. So to do that, I can click on the fill color and use any color that I want. I can also have a border. So if I click on this pencil, I can add a border, and then I can also do a border width. So right now it's 1 pixel, which is not enough. So let me change it to a larger pixel. And it's looking a little bit better, but I still want to use the green to kind of mimic the dark green that we saw in the title. And now I'm just going to click inside so I can type in the title, La Piñata. So I can select it and maybe use like a size 36. Still too small, so let me go with 96. And let me change my font to something like this one right here. This one I like. So I want to change my font color because right now black doesn't look so good. So I'm going to select the font, and then I'm going to click on the A. And on the A is where you will find the different colors for your font. And I think for this one, I might want to have it white. Now, the other thing is I want to align it to the center. So I'm going to center it. And so far, it's looking pretty good. Now, the next thing that I want to do is insert an image. So I'm going to use the search feature here. And I am just going to search for a Mexican flag. Because remember, we had the little Mexican flag. I can select one of these flags by clicking on one of them, and then see how it says insert. So you click on insert, and you can resize it by just going into one of the endpoints, click, hold, and drag. I also want to add a border for the flag, so I can click on the flag to select it, go to the pencil, select my color, which is white, and then my size will be 3 pixels. I'm noticing that I don't really like the border on the title. So I'm going to remove it by selecting it, clicking on the pencil, and then select transparent. And this will remove the border. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to do these text boxes. And I have different options here. I can use the text tool just to write the text, like you see like the text in black. I can also use some of the shapes, like you see the rectangles in blue, and then inside I can click and I can type in my text. What I'm going to do is to copy the information that I have in this infographic. I'm going back to my canvas. Then I click inside my canvas, click drag and hold to create the text box. And now let me zoom in a little so you can see the text. And the only thing that I did is I pasted the text that I copied. So right away, one of the things that I need to do is change the font. So I'm going to select all my text. Then I'm going to the font section, and I'm going to use this font and change the font size to 24. Let me just resize my text box. And now I'm going to create this other text, and you can see that this text is inside a shape, and the shape has a fill-in color, and the font is white. So we are going to recreate that using the tools in Google Drawing. And instead of using the text box, we are actually going to use a shape. So click on your shapes, and then I'm going to use the rounded rectangle shape. To create it, I go inside the canvas and I do a click, hold, and drag. To change the color, click on the little bucket, and then you can select a different color. I'm going to use this purple for now. Change the font. Change the size. And then type my information. Now you can see here that the text is a little bit bigger than the box. So I can always adjust the box size if I need to. Or I can also make the font a little bit smaller. So maybe trying like a 18 might be better. Let me try a 24 and extend the text box just a little bit more. I'm going to change my font color to white and it looks a little bit better. Let me just adjust it a little bit more. To create the next text box, I can go into shapes and then select the rounded rectangle, or an easier way will be just to copy what I have because it's already formatted the way that I like it, and I can paste it. In Google Drawing, the only way to do this is to use the shortcuts on your keyboard. So if you are using a Mac, you can use Command plus C and Command plus V. Command plus C is to copy, Command plus V is to paste. If you're using a PC, it will be Control plus C to copy and Control plus V to paste. And now you can see that I have copied the same box exactly with the same text. So all I need to do is just replace the text. For my next text box, I'll just do the same. I'll just do Command plus V to paste it. I don't need to copy it because it's already copied to my clipboard. Let me move this one here, and to move it, you need to make sure that you have those 4 corners that you see. Otherwise, you won't be able to move it. And the next thing that I need to do is just replace the text. And I'm just going to resize this shape a little bit so all the text can fit inside. Let me move this out of the way just a little bit so I can have space for my other element. And I'm just repeating the same steps. I'm just going to do the copy and paste for my next shape. Once I have my text box, I just need to replace the text. And this is already looking pretty good, but I'm noticing that I'm running out of space. So I will have to resize the font. And then I will resize the rectangle. And I'm going to do this for each one of them. I definitely have more space now for my other elements that I still need to include. One of the things that I want to do is I'm going to change some of the background colors for the rectangles. And to do this is super simple. So first select the rectangle, then select the bucket. Once you have the bucket selected, choose the color that you want. And my filling color is white, but this is also the same color as my text, so I need to change my text color to something else, and I'm using this dark green. To go along with the theme, I'm just going to make this one the same color as the previous one. And for this other two, what I want to use is a white font text. In the background, I'll have it dark green. So now my shapes and the fonts match the color scheme a little bit better. Next thing that I want to do is to add an image. So let's go into our image icon. And then we're going to use the search web feature and see what we get. And we are going to search for a palo de piñata or a piñata stick. Let's browse and see what we get. There wasn't much that I like from there, so I'm going to open a new tab. And I'm just going to go to Google Images. So I'm typing images.google.com. And from here, I can do the same search. Palo de piñata. I want the piñata stick to be more like cartoonish. I'm just going to add at the end clipart. And you can see that I get different search results. And I definitely like this one, so I'm going to select it. Let's do a right click on my mouse, copy image, and then I'll go back to my canvas and then I'll paste this image. And to paste it, I just did Command plus V on my keyboard. And as you can see, I need to do some resizing. So I'm just going to resize some of my shapes. The next tool that I'm using is the line tool, and I'm using an arrow so I can connect the text to the images. So here I'm showing la venda or the blindfold, and I will change this to orange. And I'm going to make it a bit wider, so I'm using 4 pixels. Instead of inserting another one, I'm just going to do the copy and paste. So I'm just going to copy and paste it, and then I'll drag it to show the meaning of the stick or el palo. And I'll do exactly the same thing for los colores vivos or the vivid colors. And I'm going to point this to la piñata. Now, I don't have anything for the fruits or the frutas, but you get the idea, right? That's already looking pretty good. Now, the next thing will be to recreate la piñata and each of the cones and the meaning of each of the cones. So let's see how we might be able to do this. So let's go back into our canvas and let's see how we're gonna recreate it. So the first thing that I'm going to do is search for an image and then see what I get. Let me select this one and see what it looks like. I really do not like the black background color. So let's go to images.google.com, do a search for a piñata, and let's see what we get. This one looks good, so let me click on it. But I actually like this one better, so I'm going to right click it and select copy image. Let's go back to Google Drawings, and I'm just doing the Command V on my keyboard. Now let me resize the image a little. Move this object out of the way. And I also need to move my arrow. And I need to explain the meaning of each cone. I'm going to select the Shape tool, go to Shapes, select a rectangle, click, hold and drag to create a small rectangle. And then I'm just going to type the meaning of each cone. Since I already have my shape, I'm just going to select it, copy, and paste it so I can create another one. And the only thing that I need to do is rename this one. Then I repeat the process, copy, paste, and rename it. And remember that you can always zoom in to view your text better. And this is already looking way better and closer to the original one. So let me zoom out and let's see what other things we can do. One of the things that I just want to do is I'm going to change the background for each of these rectangles and then also change the font color for each of the rectangles. The only thing that I'm doing is selecting the rectangle, selecting the bucket, choosing a different background color, then select the text and select a different color for the text. And I'm just repeating these steps over and over. Next, I am going to create a text box and I'm going to add it here to type in the meaning of each cone. I'm going to select the font and then also a font size. Let's zoom out a little to see what it looks like, and I think it's looking pretty good. It's looking a bit crowded, so I'm just going to go inside each of the shapes, change the font size, and then adjust my shape size. And I also need to move some of my elements around so it looks more spaced out and organized. So now I want to move my piñata, so I'm just going to do a click, drag and hold, so all the elements around the piñata will be selected, and then this way I don't need to move each one of them individually. The last thing that I want to do is include an image of Diego Rivera's La Piñata painting, so let's go to images.google.com and let's see what we get. Let me select this one, click on it, right click on the mouse, copy image. Let me go back to Google Drawing and then use that shortcut on my keyboard to paste it. Next, I'm going to rename my untitled drawing to La Piñata. So now that I'm done, it's time to share with my teacher. So I'm going to click on the share button. And right now the get link shows change link to LAUSD. I'm going to click on it and I'm going to change the axis. And from LAUSD, I'm going to change it to anyone with a link. And what this means is that anyone with a link has access to view my work. To close this window, click Done. And the next step will be to go to Schoology, find the assignment in Schoology, and add the assignment from our Google Drive. So once I'm in the picker page, I'll select Student, and remember that you need to use your My Mail address to log in into your Schoology. Go to your course to find the assignment. Click on the assignment to open it. Click on Submit Assignment. And from this window, you can upload audio or video, create an assignment, or add a resource. We're going to use create an assignment. Then I'm going to use insert content, and I'm going to insert from my Google Drive resource app, because remember that our assignment actually exists in the Google Drive. Once I can see my Google Drive items, I can use a search field and type in La Piñata. Once I see my assignment, select the assignment, click Import, and then click on Import Link. And now you can see that a link appears in my assignment. Now all I need to do is just type a brief message to my teacher saying that I have included the link for my assignment. You also have the option of adding a link if you want. To do this, click on the link icon. You will have to go back to your Google Drive, then copy the URL, go back to the Schoology assignment, paste the URL, and then give it a title. So you can see you have various methods of linking your assignment. When you go to Insert and use your Google Drive, it seems to be easier and less problematic when you turn in your assignment using your Google Drive. When done, just click Submit and your assignment will be submitted.